A former Sioux Falls counselor will now spend 5 years in prison for sexually taking advantage of one of his patients.
Earlier this year, Roy Conrad pleaded guilty to 2 counts of sexual penetration by a psychotherapist. In the Lincoln County Courthouse today, his victim spoke out. 60-year-old Roy Conrad left the courthouse in handcuffs after a 2-hour sentencing hearing that included testimony from his victim. In her statement, the victim detailed her experiences with Conrad that included hugs before and after her sessions, as well as Conrad touching her stomach and breasts. The victim said Conrad told her it was all to help her with her fear of physical touch. She says the touching intensified to, quote, assault multiple times a week.
You know, what's so wrong about this particular offense under our law is that a counselor is a position of trust and a position that we would call a power differential, meaning that the counselor has that power over his patient. And in this case, the doctor manipulated and exploited a lot of those vulnerabilities that this victim presented with.
While handing down her sentence, Judge Rachel Rasmussen said that the relationship between Conrad and the victim was not an affair, but rather, quote, sexual assault, pure and simple, unquote. She stated that the law protects those in the most vulnerable positions and that under Conrad's charges, consent is, quote, not a defense.
Counselors should not be touching you. Counselors should not be inviting you to engage in a personal relationship with them outside of that counseling and professional relationship. Those are red flags.
Conrad also spoke in court today, apologizing to the victim and saying his conduct was, quote, despicable and that he has no excuse for his behavior. As part of his sentencing, Conrad is not to have contact with the victim or her family, and he has to pay over $7,700 in restitution. As part of a psychosexual evaluation before the sentencing, it was recommended that Conrad not practice as a therapist, especially with female clients. The judge highlighted that recommendation in court today.